humanity, immediately you realize that 80% of the world doesn't use the web. For 80% of the world, maybe they're in a place that has no phone signal. Well, actually, a lot of them, an awful lot of them do have signal. But some of them, they have signal but no phone. They can't afford a phone yet. Some of them have a phone, but it doesn't have a web browser on it. But a lot of phones, most of the phones being made now have web browsers on them. So maybe they have a phone, they have a web browser on it, but they live in a country which uses a character set which wasn't really available and isn't available on the phone. Maybe Ethiopian characters that, for example, may not be available on every phone. So, well, or maybe they have a phone, they have a web browser, they have the right characters, they can go to a website, but when they go to a website, it's a social networking website, and they can see what it says, but really, the way that social networking site works was designed for an American teenager, female American teenager, and in their village, the society works differently, so that there's a cultural difference. So that really, they need to be able to make their own social networking site, which they need to be able to run from a little server in their own village. Maybe if they have a central water-powered recharging point for their cell phones, maybe at that point they could put a little wireless base station and a web server where they could do their own social networking system, which would connect to the other villages and so on in their own way. One of the things which has been very nice to see has been that when people are in really difficult situations, they use whatever technology they get in very creative ways. So when you look at all that, that is a really important part, and it wasn't really covered by web science. So various people who had been involved in the web from different angles decided that it was time that we should form a World Wide Web Foundation. And as we stand here in this foundation for the Hellenic world, I can tell you that we're planning a foundation, if you like, for the virtual world. And there may be a large overlap if you go next door between the virtual world and the Hellenic world. But the foundation for the virtual world, the World Wide Web Foundation, should coordinate across the board. It should get where people are on the ground in developing countries with understanding of what is needed there. And another place there are researchers, maybe here, who have an imagination where they can see what would be possible if it was needed. Then they need to be coordinated. We need to get them connected. We need to make sure that we promote the development of the web as part of the development, connected to the healthcare development, the economic development in developing countries. But also we need to connect it to the researchers, so the research is done with an awareness of what the needs are for the whole 100% of the world, not just for the 20%. And then when industry meets together and they decide on new standards that they're going to put into the cell phones, they need to be informed by both of these things, by the needs that people have all over the world, and also they need to be informed by the brightest ideas come from the craziest of scientists, wherever they've come from, whichever discipline they're in, who've met at a web science conference and discussed what could be possible. So that is something that we're doing now. We're starting a World Wide Web Foundation. That is something for the next phase. If you're interested in it, do go to webfoundation.org or talk to me afterwards. And that will, I hope, tie together a huge number of hopes and dreams and take us on into a very exciting future, most of which will be things which none of us here can possibly imagine now. Thank you very much.